Last time we began the Android saga, with Trunks entering the story, warning everyone of what's about to occur. Things are already changing, so how will they handle this threat? We'll be seeing all that and more in this part 6 of What If Gohan Had a Twin. Not too long after escaping, 16 is successfully able to escort Gero back to his lab. This is perfect for him. He can repair himself. He's heavily injured right now, but he'll awaken the other two androids, and in the meantime, he'll restore his own android body. But that's not going to happen. As soon as he awakens 17 and 18, they end up killing Gero. They almost try and kill 16 too, but they realize that first of all, 16 is stronger than them, and second of all, 16's like them, as in he's one of Gero's creations. They're different types of androids, but still, maybe it would be better to join forces with 16, although he's pretty strange to the two of them. The group eventually arrives at Gero's lab, seeing that Gero's nowhere in sight, with Trunks astonished to see that the other two androids have awoken. These are the ones he was fighting in his timeline. But the group isn't too worried. They already defeated 20 and 19, so these two shouldn't really be too big of an issue. Android 16 was tough, but there's no way they're tougher than him. And they're right, they're not tougher than Android 16, but they're much stronger than Gero and Android 19. They give the androids a better battle too. Most of the group is stronger than normal, and you have two extra fighters here, Raditz and Goten, who weren't there originally. Plus, Gohan is Super Saiyan, which he didn't have originally. And Goku's there, who wasn't there originally. But clearly it's not enough. 17 and 18 are pretty tough to fight, and with Goku, Gohan, and Goten being there, as well as Raditz, 16 decides to attack them. His directive is to kill Goku's entire family, so while he doesn't focus on anyone else, he's focused on everyone directly related to Goku, and Goku himself of course. But thanks to the battle being way closer than it should have been, this gives the group a chance to escape. They're not completely defeated. And thanks to some smart thinking by Krillin, he's able to blind the androids, telling everyone to rush out of there. It doesn't seem like the androids can sense ki, which is great, which makes their escape even easier. They need to regroup and figure out what to do next, and they decide to go to the lookout. Raditz notes something pretty interesting. Those two kids showed a great amount of power during that battle. That rage that they've shown before, it almost resurfaced once again, especially when they were seeing Goku get hurt. They've harnessed it in their base form, but now they need to harness it as Super Saiyans. Who knows, maybe it could let them go beyond Super Saiyan, which Vegeta finds kinda ridiculous. He doesn't even know why he's on the lookout in the first place. He's gonna do his own methods of training, so angrily he leaves. But now that I think about it, why did they go up here? Goku was the one to suggest it. And Goku has two reasons. For one, this is a good place to hide. The androids aren't gonna be able to find them up here. Also, they have the perfect place to train here, the Room of Spirit and Time. And maybe Raditz is right about going beyond Super Saiyan. There's only one way to find out though. They're gonna need to train, and they're gonna need to get a lot of training in within a day. With Piccolo also on the lookout, he contemplates his next move. He also has an idea of his own that might work. And reluctantly, he decides to murder with Kami in front of everybody on there. And the second he does, he senses a fearsome power. The group can't believe how strong Piccolo grew from this fusion. He didn't even do this because he realized it's Namekian fusion. He was just trying to join with Kami again because they were two halves of one whole. If they split apart before, they can combine their powers. And that's exactly what they did here. This merged Piccolo might be a bit weaker than normal though because he doesn't have Nail fused within him, but most of that power came from Kami anyways. But that power that he sensed down below, it can't be any of the androids because they don't have a key. He decides to go check it out, telling everyone he'll report back in as to what he sees. Goku decides to go in the Room of Spirit and Time with Gohan and Goten first. For the Room of Spirit and Time, there's enough food in there for 2 people to train for 12 months. So, if we don't change anything, that means they have enough there to train 3 people for 8 months instead. Which is actually more than enough time because originally, Goku and Gohan left the time chamber early anyways, and here, Gohan and Goten already have Super Saiyan. They don't need to waste time trying to teach those kids Super Saiyan because they actually became Super Saiyans before Goku. So they're not going to be in there a full year, and even if they want to go in a full year, they could just replenish the food. But that leaves everyone else in a weird spot. Vegeta's just gone, well, wherever. They don't know where he went. So the humans, Trunks, and Raditz wait up here. And Trunks is a bit disappointed that he didn't get to know Vegeta a bit more. Going in the time chamber would have been a perfect opportunity to know him, but Trunks would rather be shunned here than not be born at all. And Goku hopes that once they come out of the Room of Spirit and Time, Vegeta will see how strong they've grown and decide to go in on his own. Hopefully with Trunks, but probably not because he still doesn't know who Trunks is. Although, Raditz is a bit suspicious. This kid is a Saiyan from the future, and that hair color too. He's surprised that others haven't theorized this yet, but he could be Bulma's child, which would mean he's half Saiyan, so who could this kid's father be? It's definitely not him because Raditz has no interest in Bulma. But then Raditz immediately realizes what's going on and decides to keep it to himself not to cause a paradox. But he gives Trunks a look trying to silently let him know that he knows who Trunks is. Although it just comes off as Raditz giving him a creepy smile. This is a weird situation for Trunks, but thankfully, it seems like he hasn't prevented his own birth. He should be born less than a year from now anyway. Piccolo eventually does come back up to the lookout, having nearly defeated Cell, but at least he got all the info about Cell that he needed, telling everyone of this new threat. He wants to fight the other android now, especially because if Cell gets to them first, that'll mean he gets even stronger. But thankfully they might have some time. As for the androids, he's had Popo watch from the lookout. They knew where the androids were before and Popo's been tracking them this entire time. And Piccolo could see that they're very far away from Cell. Cell's not going to have a way to track them either. Piccolo could go to fight 17 and 18, because it seems like they're the only ones needed. He doesn't know if he's going to be able to fight 16. And since they've already seen 16 fight, that makes Piccolo stay back here. He doesn't want to go down there and die instantly, since he doesn't realize that 16 won't even fight him. Also, they don't have Dragon Balls now and no way of getting other Dragon Balls. They need to be very cautious here. Goku's not going to be able to teleport to Namek because first of all, they've never been to Namek, and second of all, Goku can't teleport. They're going to have to worry about the Dragon Balls later on, which means they're going to need to be really careful right now. But Piccolo says he'll intervene if the androids get anywhere close to Cell. And thankfully that doesn't happen. Goku, Gohan, and Goten exit the Room of Spirit in time. Strangely enough, Goten looks younger than Gohan. Is this because they're aging differently? Or is it because I want to acknowledge how weird it is that Goten looks like this in Super despite being older than Gohan here in Z? Mostly the latter, but it's also weird for them to see. I know the reasoning behind it, but still, like, this is him in Super, and this is a younger Gohan during the Cell games. Just a thing to reference. But more importantly, they notice that all three of them are in Super Saiyan. And they don't even seem to notice. Goku says that 8 months of training was more than enough. Actually, they probably didn't even need the full 8 months. Not only have they grown a lot stronger, but they've completely mastered Super Saiyan. And now this should be more than enough to fight the androids. But Piccolo warns them about Cell. The three of them have one big meal, and decide to go back down to the surface to fight Cell. But just before they leave, Vegeta comes back up to the lookout and sees how strong they've grown, leaving him wondering what his next move should be. Goku, Gohan, and Goten go to the surface, and locating Cell isn't too hard since he actually has ki that they could sense. He's the main threat now. And thankfully, Cell's going to be underestimating them here because he doesn't realize that they've been training, and that they've mastered Super Saiyan. It's surprising for him to see that Goku's still alive here. Well, it does make sense after all. That's the whole reason Trunks went back in the first place. But Trunks' success in saving the timeline is going to stop here. Of course, by now they know that this won't change Trunks' timeline, but at least he's going to save this one. And thankfully, Cell's grown strong enough to fight these three. He feels that he's absorbed more than enough people to do so. But Goku tells Cell that they already know who he is and what he's up to. Piccolo, or Kami, or whatever he is now, he warned everyone of Cell, so Goku realizes that they need to stop him right now. And he decides that he's going to fight Cell first, just to see how strong this guy truly is. He already knows that Gohan and Goten have surpassed him, so he at least wants to have some fun here. Goku fights Cell, and it's not really too big of a deal. Goku's way beyond where Cell is at the moment. And since they realize how big of a threat Cell is, Goku's able to kill him pretty easily too. And there's such a big power gap that he just accidentally destroys all of Cell without even realizing that he can regenerate. So Cell is permanently gone, and they don't need to worry about him anymore. Now it's time to face the androids. It takes a bit to track the androids down, but they eventually find the three. And this is perfect. They have 3 versus 3. Honestly, Goku thinks this might be overkill, but he hasn't seen the full extent of the android's power, so who knows. Although as the battle begins, they realize that it actually is overkill. Goku fights 16, Gohan fights 17, and Goten fights 18. And the battle is pretty short-lived. But they are able to win here. Although, unlike Cell, they're not going to kill these 3. First of all, at 16, Goku realized he's a robot, and he actually had a pretty good idea in the time chamber. Maybe Bulma could reprogram this guy. He does seem powerful too. Imagine having a fully artificial android on their side to train with. That could be awesome. But as for the other 2, by now, they know what these 2 androids are. Because while Goku took his kids into the time chamber, everyone else went back to the lab and got all the info on the androids, as well as destroying present Cell. Trunks, Raditz, and the humans are to thank for that. 17 and 18 didn't become androids willingly, and unlike Cell, they didn't just kill thousands of people just to grow stronger. The androids actually haven't really killed anyone yet. They've just been going around robbing and destroying places, but they haven't killed people. They've only attacked the group here. And unlike Cell, who was genetically engineered to kill them, 17 and 18 are only just reprogrammed basically. They are still human, and Goku gives them an offer. He knows they probably don't want to hear it, but they already know that these 2 didn't want to be androids. He says clearly they've lost here, but if they'd like, he has a friend who could turn them back into regular humans again. As for 16, he's been defeated and injured so badly that he can't fight anymore. But the other 2 are still standing. He says they're going to reprogram 16. At least he hopes Bulma's able to do that. But as for those 2, the offer stays open. He doesn't feel right just killing them in cold blood. Nor do Gohan and Goten. And he also tells the 2 androids about Cell too. They knew Gero was using them, but they didn't know the extent of how much he was trying to use them. They were basically going to be parts for this other android. The 2 androids don't accept Goku's offer. They actually don't say much of anything. They just simply turn around and leave. Which confuses Goku a bit, but he guesses they're not a threat anymore. It seems like they gave up on fighting. And he's not too concerned anyways. He knows if they do cause issues again, the 3 of them will be able to defeat 17 and 18 pretty easily. They arrive back on the lookout and let everyone know that things are okay now. Although, there's 2 people missing. Raditz and Vegeta are gone. Vegeta wanted to go into the Room of Spirit in time because after seeing how strong Goku got, he decided he needed to train a lot further. And Raditz decided to go in with him. Vegeta was against it at first, but Raditz says he needs to let go of that grudge that he has for Raditz. They're both behind right now. And besides, without a training partner, neither of them will grow. This will be beneficial for both of them. And Raditz confidently says that he has the knowledge of his brother, and they could build off of each other too. Wouldn't that be useful for Vegeta, if both of them can master Super Saiyan as well? He doubts they'll have a chance to fight the androids because with how strong Goku and his kids are now, they're probably going to win. But it doesn't hurt to train. So the 2 of them are in the time chamber right now. Unfortunately for Trunks, he didn't really get to see Vegeta too much. Nor did he grow stronger because he didn't have a chance to train in the time chamber. He didn't really need to in the first place. But luckily for him, he has the remote to deactivate the androids in his timeline. And now that they know 16 was only programmed to kill Goku and his family, maybe once he's deactivated, Trunks can have Bulma reprogram him too. Although the button he has is a bomb that blows up the androids. He'll just have to find a way to spare 16. He's glad to hear that the androids in this timeline don't seem as bad as the ones in his timeline. He's a bit worried that Goku let them go, but he trusts Goku's judgment. Trunks thanks everyone for their help, and they thank him because without him, they wouldn't have known about these threats. Everyone would have been dead. Goku would have died from the heart virus, and everyone else would have died from the androids. The only major loss here was Kami. But it's not like he died technically, he just lives on through Piccolo. And Trunks says goodbye to everyone. He hopes he could see them again one day, realizing that this timeline is going to thrive, and of course he wants to actually talk to Vegeta once he knows who Trunks is. It's unfortunate they couldn't bond now, but hopefully they'll meet again on good terms. And Trunks returns to his timeline. Vegeta and Raditz eventually exit the time chamber, both successfully mastering Super Saiyan as well. And it seems like the two of them are on better terms, but there definitely is a fierce rivalry there. As for the two kids, Goku wants to see them go past Super Saiyan. He knows that they're above him right now, and in the time chamber, he actually saw that they were on the cusp of getting something else. But they needed a little bit more of a push. They need something to push them overboard and to actually transform beyond Super Saiyan. He doesn't know what, but he knows that they can achieve it. And thankfully there is something to help them here. 16 has been reprogrammed and upgraded, as well as repaired too. For Bulma, it wasn't actually too hard. She just had to remove all the Kill Goku stuff, and that was that. He already seems surprisingly gentle. Also, she removed the bomb inside of him too because he doesn't really need that anymore. But now he's stronger and he's actually good. And Goku thinks that this guy will be a good training partner for them, especially because he has infinite energy. And with his upgrades, he might even be stronger than them right now. That's one of the reasons Goku wanted this guy reprogrammed. He seemed like a pretty cool opponent, but unlike people such as Piccolo, Vegeta, and Raditz who actually can just change normally, this guy is literally hardwired to hate Goku. Training begins to push the two twins beyond Super Saiyan. And as this goes on, Piccolo realizes that they need a new set of Dragon Balls. But he has a plan for this. Thanks to some help from Popo and Bulma, as well as finding one of the old Saiyan space pods, they're able to build a ship that actually goes to Namek. With King Kai of course helping direct Piccolo. They don't have anyone else in mind for the Guardian of Earth because they've never been to Namek. So it looks like Piccolo's going to be Guardian and he has direct contact with King Kai. And also, King Kai gets a good ending here because he doesn't die either. That aside though, Piccolo eventually is able to make it to Namek, wanting to see if there's any other Dragon Balls there, or if there's a way for him to actually make Dragon Balls for himself. This is the only way that he can learn. By now, Guru is dead, but Mori has taken over as the new Elder, and he's interested to see this other Namekian come here. Clearly he's very strong, and is very different from the other Namekians. Mori explains that they barely escaped Frieza's wrath. It took a while, but they were able to rebuild, especially because Mori was able to make his own set of Dragon Balls after Guru died. The only reason Piccolo found Namek is because King Kai knew where New Namek was. And Piccolo didn't know any of this. He didn't realize that Frieza did this to this planet. And they also realized that Piccolo's friends were the ones to actually fight against Frieza. So they're more than willing to actually help Piccolo here. Not only is he a Namekian like them, but when Mori reads his mind and goes through Earth's history, he can see that this guy is a clear ally and helped them, even though he didn't even realize that he was helping. And since they don't know anyone on Namek, Dende won't become the new Guardian on Earth. It still is going to be Piccolo. They used the Dragon Balls here on Namek to grant Piccolo the ability to create Dragon Balls for himself. And he didn't realize it would be that easy. He thought he was just going to have to learn here. But Mori says there actually is more for him to learn. He sees that Piccolo has a bunch of latent power locked away. And besides just creating Dragon Balls, Mori tells Piccolo there's a lot that he could learn here. And if Piccolo would like, Mori could try to unlock some of his latent potential. Although he's kind of new to doing this so he can't unlock the full extent of it, but it's at least worth a shot. Mori tries to awaken Piccolo's power, and he's astonished to see how strong Piccolo is. He only barely taps into it, but Piccolo sees a huge boost in strength. And Piccolo didn't realize he had all this locked away, and that's why Mori wants him to stay. If he stays just for a little bit, he could learn not only about his past, but he could also grow stronger. He can grow smarter. There's so much he could do here. Besides, it's a good chance to learn about his people too. And curious about this, Piccolo ends up staying on Namek temporarily. As he's growing stronger on Namek, back on Earth, Gohan and Goten have finally broken through in their training. Thanks to guidance from Goku and training with Android 16, they finally were pushed beyond Super Saiyan, unlocking a new power beyond that, which they simply call Super Saiyan 2. Now finally using it for the first time. This is where we'll leave off for now. What do you guys think about this part, and what's going to happen going forward as we end Z? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel and lets me know you want to see more like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.